Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Regal Podcast with me, Jordan Lewis. And today I'm joined by Andrietta Simbi, a good friend of mine and business owner. So, first of all, Andrietta, welcome to the podcast. Would you like to give a quick introduction to who you are and what you do?
So thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm looking forward to it. Love podcasts, by the way, and really excited to see what you're going to be speaking about today. So my name is Andrietta Simbi. I am a small startup business owner, Soul Entertainment, currently building itself. It's an entertainment business just focused on creating creative visuals and additionally also creating um, creative visuals and selling them to whether artists or businesses or brands who need creative ways to develop their marketing, their visuals, and advertise their products.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I know we've talked a lot about your business in the past, kind of what you're doing, your direction in the future. So I'm personally really excited to see where you take your business and what you end up doing with it.
Me
So,
too.
without further ado, let's get into the first question. In the past, we've spoken about how you practice visualization to work towards achieving your goals, and I've got several questions surrounding this. First one, how did you discover visualization as a practice?
Oh, I think YouTube. Because I'm quite like I'm an everything person, so I dip and dive into everything, whether it's like spirituality or just like a universal religion. Like I like dipping and diving into every single thing. So I think I must have been on YouTube and I was just trying to understand myself in a way and understand how I work as a human being. And I went through like different sections. It was like guided meditations, that kind of like calm you down and help you refocus and center yourself for you to be able to clearly map out in your mind what you need to do. But visualization, I think it really just came from vision boarding, and because I'm a drama student as well, and I'm more creative than I am anything. So when I can see something, I have a better like, so I just believe it more, kind of
Mhm.
thing. Yeah. So yeah, YouTube and
So,
just self help kind of.
mm. So is that why you think then you've leaned towards visualization then because you're a visual learner, because when you see something it kind of becomes tangible, something that you can achieve?
Exactly. And that's like with everything. Like, I think visualization also comes with like being a practical learner. Like, if I sit down for too long and my brain keeps retaining all this information and I will like lag. I will get a
Mhm.
moment where I completely stop and I can't do anything else. So I'm the type of person that likes to do stuff. If I don't do things, like you'd think I'm absolutely like you'd think I'm not reading or you think I'm not doing anything, but it's just like that's just the way my brain works. Like it's better for me to actually be like there and do it and put it into practicality for me to be like, yeah, okay, yeah, this can work, even if it's the product doesn't turn out exactly how I want it to turn out. For me, it's learning and it's like, okay, that's how I did it, but now I know how I can take it to exactly how my mind's eye was able to see it in the first place, kind of thing.
Mm, that makes a lot of sense because I know your mind works in a kind of similar way to mine in the sense of you're kind of bombarded with hundreds of different ideas about something and you kind of need to then navigate which idea is the best idea and which idea is right for you. So obviously if visualization is a tool that you can use to do that, then I think it's a really positive thing for you and your business.
Yeah, definitely. It's really helpful, even though it takes you like loads of different ideas. That means you're like,
Hmm.
you feel like you're not developing, you feel like you're not doing enough, but really and truly, you're just like exploring all the different ways that you can like bring something to reality. And it's like, in the end, you do find the path that is like perfect for you. Well, not perfect, but most practical and helpful to
Hmm.
take you to your destination.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, there's no point putting energy into a direction if it's not the right direction. So by taking this time to figure out what the right direction is for you,
Yeah,
then you're not wasting as much energy. So,
exactly.
okay, how do you visualize? What is your process like then? So you have the goal, you have the dream that you want to achieve.
Mhm.
What what is your process to then taking that from the dream to visualize? visualization to reality?
So I'll give like an example. Let's say I'm like, okay, I've been researching and watching loads of music videos and just reading like into creative books, whether it's like the director's craft, Katie Mitchell, and she's talking about how to direct an ensemble, how to shortlist, how to do all of these things and stuff. And it's like, okay, cool, that's amazing information. So the first thing that I do is I look around. So let's see, I've got a stimulus, I've got an idea inside my mind of what I want to execute. I look around at people, let's say artists, that I'm like, I think you can fit into what it is that I want to execute. So I start comparing every single, not people are assets in a way, resource. I start looking at the resources that are available around me and start picking and choosing which ones and like identify, just kind of like assessing them, being like, can you execute it? Does that suit your sound? Does that suit your style? And sometimes I'm like, it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't suit you, but I feel like this is what you should be doing. Kind of not should be doing, but something that's going to make you different. And then I take those resources and I talk to them, I plan and I communicate what my vision is with that person. And then usually I have to like build a treatment and a vision board. So I have to visually like take pictures from videos, from images, from pictures that I take by myself to kind of like show them exactly what I feel like I need to communicate. And then I show it to them so that we're kind of like on the same page. And then after that, it then goes down to planning. And planning is really like put down to budget most of the time. And it's kind of like, okay, cool. I understood which resources that I have. Let's say a camera. I've got a camera. Cool. If I don't have a camera, what's my budget? What's my, like, do I have enough of a budget for me to afford a camera? Or even better yet, do I have a budget for me to afford somebody that can execute the vision better than I can? And then it goes back to step one again, finding somebody that is like, okay, are you within my budget? And according to what you've done before, can you execute my vision for me and make it look like, yeah, this is exactly how I want it to look like? And do you understand me communication wise? And some people don't take those, like, you can meet videographers and they're like, that's not really my thing, you know, I don't really do short films, I don't really do music videos. But it's like, but your aesthetic says that that's exactly what I want. And sometimes you're like kind of like going back and forth and looking at different places. But yeah, so it's really, but back to budgeting anyway. So after you've made your resources and you've talked to people that you need to talk, budgeting is more about, budgeting is like the biggest thing in terms of creative direction, and financial is really the biggest thing, because you could have like a great idea, but if you don't have the budget for you're gonna have to create the greatest subversion of the idea that you've just had. And it's like,
Mhm.
it's not great, but at the same time I feel like it teaches you how to use what you have and not think too far away from like the things that you can do in the future, but not to think too much, kind of like, yeah, too much away. But that's mainly the process. If I just,
Mhm.
I feel like I went like this during the whole time, but yeah, that's mainly the process.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And your last point about budget limiting your creative capability is definitely one of the biggest challenges that I think creatives face is, you can have a vision that, I don't know, is you deem to be the best vision you've ever had or the best, like, plan for something you've ever had. But obviously, like, money in reality isn't infinite, and you
Yeah.
may need infinite money to make this a reality, whether it be in film or creative directing or marketing or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
I know that's a lot of creatives face that
And
struggle.
it's like with every single business, you're gonna, whether it's like fashion, whether it's anything, you're gonna be like, you're gonna have costs occur within your business that aren't part of the plan, whether it's, oh my gosh, my sewing machine was actually broken down. You know what? It's not gonna be able to produce the capacity of clothes that I have to make within this month. So I'm gonna have to get another one. Or I don't know how it usually works in fashion and stuff, but they're gonna be things that happen or things that you haven't taken into consideration, especially in film. It's like, oh, actors, oh, pay and travel. You think you can budget and be like, I'm gonna spend £50 all the time that they're filming. I'm gonna buy them like £10 pizza one day, £10 pizza, and then drinks. 3 days, that's good, pizza and drinks. And then somebody turns around and says, I don't like pizza. I don't. And it's like, oh, don't worry
Yeah.
about it. I'm not gonna let you starve, I guess. And it's like one of those. I don't let anybody starve, but it's just like one of those things.
It's one of those things you can't even think about, though. You can't even foresee that, because there's so many different dietary requirements. How are you meant to know if somebody's vegan? How are you meant to know if somebody's lactose intolerant? You can't until you get there. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I think it's a
Like,
case
a
of
bit different, and
plan
maybe it's
plan
gonna be
for the best,
cheaper.
prepare
Go
for the
to them.
worst.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, that's like 8 4, and still be in budget, and still execute another idea after
Yeah,
that, and
prepare for the
another idea.
absolute worst. Okay, cool. I'll move on to the second question then.
I could have,
As a
let's
business
say I have a
owner,
great
it can be
idea, and this
difficult, if
idea
not
is like
impossible, to know
amazing.
whether you're making the right decision
How can
until
you
you
make
actually make
it
it
to
and follow
suit your
through with it.
budget, but
What
still,
is your
and
advice for business
especially when
owners like
making like
ourselves who
decisions
are maybe
within
struggling to
business,
make
it's
decisions
like
in fear of making the wrong
idea that
one?
you come up with either way. But the best way to try them all out, messed
Just do
myself
it.
over because I didn't think like in the long
How,
run.
how,
So your
go on.
options in terms of kind of like the ideas that you have. If you want quality
I
things, you're
was
gonna
just
have
going to
to
say,
pay a quality
how,
price for those things.
I
So it's
understand
like,
your
because
mantra of just
like,
do it, because that is exactly what I
sorry, what
believe.
were you
You
gonna
need to
ask?
make
Well,
a
I
decision.
think,
A decision is better
yeah.
than no decision, absolutely. My question then is, if you've got 10 options and they're all seemingly equally good
Execute that idea,
in
which is
whatever
something I
metric you
did
use to
like as a
measure that,
mistake. Like
how can you
you're
go
gonna like fall
about
into these mistakes where you're like,
deciding
oh, I'm
which
gonna put my
direction to
money
take
into this
first
idea
if you are
and it
just
won't
going to
even
go
work
through the
out.
options? Or equally, what are some of the metrics you can use to kind of disqualify some of these options to make the decision easier?
And it's expensive. If I can't put that idea that's expensive into my budget, I'm just gonna disregard it. If I have an idea that's not great, but there's a lot of potential and I'm reaching very far. Obviously, this idea is not practical, and nobody's gonna do it for a cheap price because. Okay, so usually and so I would edit my idea and be like, okay, what if I turn it into an animation? Finding an idea that's like so practical where you can like make the next month you've got another idea ready, but you don't even have enough money to exit. And you realize I put all my money here, it didn't even work out. Now I'm just kind of having to be like, okay, for the worst, yeah. Just do it. For it really being there, it just seems like a good option for it to be just take that option out the door. Make like a music video, and it was just gonna be kind of like this sick video with maybe animators can create the same idea, but then like make it look like idea after that. Because the last thing that you want is to do one idea and then exactly definitely prepare. Just like look of quality and still suit your audience. It's like
Yeah.
even whether it's like they're worth doing. An option is just there because you don't have a reason. Can you do like cool editing, where you can take people out and make people look at how my words coming out right now. You're gonna have to like try out all and every single like okay. Yeah, I've completely kind of like the way I like to like decide is practicality. It's like lots of editing and stuff until I realized and went around and asked people, hey, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Going around and, £100 going to 1,000, depending on how long it's going to be. I'm like, oh. And then it's kind of like, after that, I was like, okay, I'm kind of like, make it look good on a low budget. How practical can you make it, and how you do so much with it? Like, I had an idea, just to look crazy and stuff. They were like, yeah, £700. I was looking at my account, like, is literally to see, okay, it's not the best idea, but which one can I do the most for? So just being practical and thinking ahead and weighing up.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So just make sure that it's actually a realistic possibility before you actually then try and go into that idea fully. Andrietta's just disconnected. I'll be back in a second. Go.
So, sorry. So really, it kind of like boils down to what I was saying, practicality. Which idea can you execute and keep within your budget? Don't
Mhm.
put all your money towards one idea and then not be able to continue and execute other ideas. Yes, it's great to want to put all your money and effort and energy into one thing, but really
Mhm.
and truly, it's like everything is not going to be the greatest thing. Like, everything you do in life is not going to be the greatest. You can put all your money into it, but it's still not going to be great. So would you rather be like, okay, I'm still going to find ways for me to make this as visually amazing as it is, as an amazing product as it is, as amazing to the customer as it is. But at the same time, I'm going to make sure that I save money and think ahead to be like, if this is a great idea, what if they want to come back again? Let me
Mhm.
put money towards that idea and make sure that, I don't kind of like overstretch myself into one direction. And also in
Mhm.
doing things because you actually want to do them, and not so much because you think that's what is wanted. I mean, with the creative industry, the most difficult thing to do is follow the trend. Like, to fall into is
Mhm.
kind of like following a trend, which a lot of people do. And it's like, that's how the creative industry kind of functions, where it's kind of like there's a trend that happens. Everybody wants to follow it. Everybody wants to milk it. Everybody wants to get the most out of it because that's where the audience is. But really and truly, something could be on trend, but at the same time, something could be ignored that's coming up next. Something that could be completely undervalued, or something that's already on trend, but people just don't see it. And you could be the person that takes that and then presents it to the audience the best way that you can. So, not following trends, just doing what you can, but at the same time thinking and planning ahead. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the wonderful thing as well is if you've got multiple ideas, multiple projects that could be possibilities, if you can get one off the ground and make one successful and profitable, you
Yeah.
can then just use that money and reinvest that into a bigger project and just gradually snowball your way up until you can eventually do that ultimate project that you would have done in the first place if you had the money.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a problem with starting smaller and making it the best it can possibly be in order to generate repeat customers or repeat audience members that will then keep coming back for more and keep helping you grow your brand, your business, or indeed your career.
Yeah. That's very true.
Mm, absolutely. Okay, on to the third question. So, recently you've been collaborating with Jamal Edwards and SBTV. First of all, how have you found that? Have you been enjoying that so far?
I've been enjoying it. I'm such like, as soon as I get an opportunity to do something, I'm like, yeah, it's mine. Like it's one of those things that don't come like so rarely, so easily. I feel like it was luck mixed in with the fact that obviously I was building my platform tiny bit, tiny bit, tiny bit, and obviously when somebody sees that somebody's working towards a goal, they're more likely to want to invest into what you're doing because you're like, oh, you're doing something that works. Okay, let me kind of like put you onto this platform and help you get a different perspective and get a different view on of how to kind of like get to the next level, for you to understand what it takes for you to be within the creative industry. It's been a great learning experience for myself, seeing just how big production works, how much energy and time goes into like planning, filming, directing, how many people are on set. Like, it's been the most amazing experience, even just networking with like-minded people who completely view things in a completely different way or a more matured way. For me, has been really exciting, especially when understanding creativity and understanding how you can be creative in the mind, but it's a different step bringing those ideas out into practicality, especially with a production team where there's so many people that you give the idea to, but it's going to change and this and this and this and bend and go in different directions, because you have to think about money, you have to think about the props needed, you have to think about the equipment that you have, location. So the idea that you have is going to completely change. And it's been a great experience. It's been really great, especially for me, because that's exactly what I need. I mean, I could kind of like have been like, yeah, I'm going to do this by myself and, build my business by myself. But that's not how business works. It's like, it's either you learn and you develop, or your business is not going to learn. It's not going to develop. I feel like this has been the best way for me to practically understand how it works. So when I'm ready to then create a team and build a business that is verified, and a business that is accessible to its customers, and a business that is like present within its industry, then at least I can be like, yeah, I've had experience and understand all these different factors, so I know who I need within my team and what I need to understand, what I need like in resources, in knowledge, all of those things. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that it is a massive opportunity for you to kind of get that insight and to kind of almost get a head start in that amount of experience that you would need to run your own business, from somebody who's obviously already got there. So now I'm kind of curious, how did you kind of find that opportunity? How did you make that happen in your own life?
By literally DMing him. Like, I think that I was consistently DMing this guy. Like, I would write, like, the first time I DM'd him, I wrote a paragraph explaining, hey, I'm a university student. I'm on my enterprise placement year, and I'm interested in creative direction. I would be, like, willing to assist you on a day. And then he didn't reply. Hey, even if it's just, like your coffee and water run, I'm cool, like just today, just to assist you. Didn't reply. And then I'd comment, like, he would post like a funny story or something. And then I'd comment laughing faces. No reply. The last DM that I sent him on Instagram was, hello, sir, I'm still here. And that's the DM that he replied to. He was
That's
just
hilarious.
like, of all the DMs I sent, there were more, but of all the DMs that I sent, that was the one. Hello, sir, I'm still here. It was kind of embarrassing.
Well, hey, if it works.
Exactly, if it works. And
That's insane.
yeah, additionally, I was like, just liking all his posts, his SBTV, kind of like commenting, like, oh, this is great. Just engaging, because I was following already on Instagram and knew of his presence. Obviously, such an amazing guy, and like I was already engaged. I already knew what the business was about, and so for me, it was really just like patience and a mixture of luck for him to then run into the DM, like probably like on a day that he was like, oh, this girl, she's back again, kind of thing. Or maybe he just checked his like requests. It's like, the same girl is there again. Let me just open the DM. But yeah, that's like how it happened. And then I went to assist him with the help of obviously Vikesh. We were like prepping for it. Vikesh was like, just be calm, be cool, write on your hands any key points that you need to write. And yeah, that's how it went. Yeah.
So you literally just barraged it, but filled his inbox with your name so that he couldn't not reply to you, basically.
Yeah, I was constantly on his feed, constantly there. It's like, how can you then miss that? And I'm pretty sure whoever runs their like Instagram pages or like they probably were like, oh my gosh, the girl's back again. Why don't you just check what she wants, kind of thing.
Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like I used to, when I first started my business, I used to be worried about being perceived as annoying, especially when it was with entrepreneurs, with bigger brands that I maybe wanted to work with, because you would have to, I'd have to message them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Snapchat if I could find it, on TikTok, find their email, phone them, and you just have to barrage them in every way because not only is it more likely that you're not going to just get put into the bin pile in the inbox or the emails or whatever it might be,
Yeah.
but also it shows them that you're serious because you've taken the time to, first of all, find all of these different channels, secondly, construct a message tailored to each of those channels, and then thirdly, take the time to actually send those messages, even in the face of potential and more than likely rejection.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows this person that you're serious, and I think you've absolutely gone the right way about it.
Yeah. And it's like that's just the way it is, especially with also like people that have, I don't like to use made it, but are then like they're now established and they have their business and they're constantly working. It's like they're busy. They're constantly like we're
Yeah,
still
yeah.
on the road to kind of like building the business, and we're learning. We're trying to network with those people that can take us to those places, or like kind of like give us knowledge that we need to get to those places. And it's kind of like they're busy. They have got a different timetable. Sometimes it's a situation where it's like that they don't. It's not that they don't want to help, and
They just don't have
they
the
just don't
time.
have the time, or sometimes they just can't fit you in the schedule because maybe they've got other priorities and other people that they're also helping. So there's also that. But
Yeah.
it's an entrepreneur's thing is to never stop either way. It's like don't put all your eggs into that one basket.
Basket.
If you're hoping these people are going to message you, still continue working on your business until those things happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think all entrepreneurs who are actually going somewhere or have already gone somewhere are busy. I think it's just different types of busy. So, for example, Jamal, he's going to be busy on other elements of his business. He's not going to be busy checking his DMs,
Yeah.
his inbox. Whereas you and me, because we're, like you said, we're still on that journey stage, we're still growing, we are looking for the opportunities in DMs, in emails. So if somebody emailed me or DM'd me, I know that I'm going to check it because at the end of the day, I'm the only person in my business right now. So therefore, if anybody's going to check it, it's going to be me, and I'm looking for those opportunities. Whereas I'm not saying Jamal isn't, but he needs them less because he is already making the most of a lot of the
Exactly.
opportunities he already
Yeah,
has.
and more time he's got other people that are like hired to do those things to make sure that okay,
Yeah.
emails, check the emails, and then they have a system as well where it's like, well, we can't answer all of them, so some people get missed out. We can't. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a whole different kind of like field. Yeah.
And that is the value of putting catchy subjects, like eye-catching subject lines, eye-catching first lines in your messages, making sure that you get through that first barrier of entry because the VA, it might just literally be a VA that gets paid £5 an hour.
Yeah.
They're not going to bother reading a full paragraph if the first two lines aren't interesting or match the criteria they've been given.
Yeah.
So learn what those criteria are and then act
Exactly.
accordingly. Okay, next question, and this one's moving a little bit away from business, and this is about the fact that you paint, because you also enjoy painting in your spare time. So you've obviously created a lot of different pieces of art throughout the year while I've known you, and obviously before that. And a lot of your art is very kind of vivid, unusual, which I suppose quite a lot of art is. So my question is, where does your inspiration come for your art? And is that internal or external
I
inspiration?
like this question because now I have an answer for it. So yeah,
Oh, good, good.
before you asked me, and I was like, oh, I don't know, kind of thing. It was like something I was still kind of getting used to, but the more I kind of like listen to people speaking about how creativity works, It's like now I understand for myself personally, the way my art works is through my life experience. So it's external at first. So
Hmm.
depending on where I am in my life, whether I have a lot of work to do, whether I'm trying to branch into new sections, whether I'm struggling, whether I'm actually happy, like that is reflected within my art. So when you see more abstract pieces of my art where you're like, it doesn't really make sense, it's because it doesn't make sense to me, if you know what I mean. It is reflecting an
Hmm.
emotion and it's reflecting how I feel towards my external influences, and it's also reflecting how I'm taking in those external influences, and then I put that onto my art and then present it. And it doesn't always like make sense. It doesn't always make sense when you look at it first, but I guess that's what art is. It's like, how do you,
Hmm.
without me explaining to you how I felt within that month for me to create that art piece, how does that make you feel? It's like I could have been completely upset.
Hmm.
I could have been trying to like rebuild my life, and that's why my art, there's a lot of pattern in it, or there's less color. Like if there's more color and there's more pattern in it, usually, Andrietta, you're
Hmm.
trying to figure out life. You've got this avenue and this avenue, and you're
Yeah.
trying to connect all the dots, and it's got so many colors because these colors represent so many things, emotions, moods. And if you see something more monotone and something more simple, it either is like a representation of something that I want you to see, or it's either a representation of just how I feel
Hmm.
internally. It's like a clean slate, or yeah. And if I draw something that's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is just like a person, then yeah, it's just a person. I did it because I just had time. So it's like split up into like these three
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
sections. So yeah, it's more based on like external, internal, how I interpret it, and then me interpreting it back to the canvas and back to the viewer.
Mm. So, do you feel then, when you create a piece of art that reflects your emotional state, do you feel that that helps you understand that emotional state better? And also, do you feel that it helps you express that emotional state? So, for example, if you're feeling angry, I know for me, when I feel angry, I like to go for a walk, and that allows me to release that angry energy in a more positive, constructive way. Do you feel that that's the same for you with this art, or do you feel it has a different purpose?
It's literally the same. It's like taking a walk. It's like that time that you
Hmm.
have to
Hmm.
think while you're kind of like outside. It's like when I'm like painting on the canvas, it just helps me think. It helps me create a healthy flow of like thoughts. Because usually, if I'm just like angry or upset and
Hmm.
I'm not doing anything, it creates so many branches inside my head where I don't even then know how to fix my anger, or how to kind of like find the root
Hmm.
of my anger. But painting kind of helps me find solutions. So like my branch could go this way, and then painting will be like wrap it up. Branch can go this way, wrap it up, and then like that's all happening at the same time that I'm kind of like creating a piece of artwork. And yeah, it's the best thing, like, especially with university. Like it's helped me a lot, especially when I'm like stressed out, or I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do,
Hmm.
or not even that I don't know what to do, but more so is like trying to figure out how I'm going to use the things that I've learned. And I paint for me to be able to like
Hmm.
put those things back into context, or for me to just put like wire my brain back into some like a healthy and good functioning state. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And obviously, yeah, like we kind of touched on, it's different for everybody. So for you, it's obviously art. For me, it's going for walks. For some people, it might be playing an instrument. And I think it's important to find something that you can channel your emotions through, especially if it's a more destructive emotion, like say anger. Because I know a lot of people obviously release that anger in like destructive and not
Yeah,
constructive ways. So having that channel is definitely important for a lot of people.
definitely.
And then to relate your art back to business, then some artists use painting or art to clear their mind for other areas of their life. So as you've kind of said, it helps you clear your mind, helps you channel your emotions. Do you feel that art helps you focus on your business and your business goals more because you're able to clear your mind and your emotions in this way?
Yeah, I feel as though I am. it ties in. So now, let me see. I feel like, especially with in terms of like art and creative direction and films, paintings have been used for a long time as a reference point. Hello? Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry, someone just tried to call me.
Hello. Yeah, sorry,
So
you just cut out for a second.
paintings have actually been used for a long time in reference to
No
like
problem.
cinematography and creating creative visuals. So when you see a lot of films, sometimes you can find a painting that Scorsese and great artists like Tarantino, like they've all done it in their films where they look at things like pictures and they're like, this is like saying something to me. This is like giving me something, and I want to build, my own story based on my interpretation. So it's like I haven't done it yet with my art, but I feel like one day I will build like, there is gonna be like a link where I don't know whether it's gonna be like a eureka point where I'm like, yeah, eureka, I figured it out. I know what this means and how to represent it in a film. But in terms of business, my art has helped me calm myself down, because I think one of the most like difficult things when you're trying to make decisions that actually gonna help your business progress, one of the most difficult things is you get into like this head fog that no idea is none of like you don't have any great ideas. Like you get into a state where you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but like art for me calms me down. It like just helps me be like, okay, cool. You know what? At the end of the day, let me just align everything that I have. Like if something makes sense, if something can work in a chronological order, then I take that idea and then I run with that idea. If it doesn't, then don't take that idea and don't run with that idea. And that's what art does for me, if that makes sense, yeah.
Mm.
It's kind of like
Mm.
I
Yeah,
said
yeah,
before.
that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, thank you for your insight.
It's cool.
Go on. No, go on, sorry.
Oh, it's cool. Oh, you paused a little bit.
Oh, sorry. No, go on. What was you saying?
The connection's like lagging and you paused.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm just saying, what was you saying
Pardon?
before I cut you off accidentally?
Oh, I was just saying, it's
What was you
something like
saying
what I
before I
said
cut you
before,
off?
in terms of it just helps me put my like mind back into like a healthy process of thinking. It's
Mm, mm. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for your insight. Okay, next question then. So this is kind of around dating and dating while running a business.
yeah.
So in your view, from your experiences, are dating and running a business full time as you are now compatible? And if so, how can you go about finding partners who accept and support that your primary mission will always be your business and your business goals? And
That's
how can
very
you find a balance
interesting.
between a
Is it
relationship and a
both
business?
friendship and romantical? Yeah, I mean dating is only one, both.
Yeah, we'll say both in this
In
sense.
terms
So
of
yeah,
friendship,
friendships and
treat
romantic
your friends
relationships.
like you treat a business. You're gonna hire and fire them. If if they're not helping you, like I learned this the hardest way earlier in my enterprise year, and I think I talked to you about it. Vikesh was like, "Oh damn, okay," like it was like I personally realized that I had people in my life that weren't supporting what my, and it's not a situation where it's like people have to be like, yeah, when Andrea wakes up, I wake up. When Andrea has a good idea, I have to help her make that idea. It's like, no, it's not like that. Like, but get people in your life that are kind of like, they know that you have a business and you have a career that you want to follow and you have certain things you want to do. Friends that are going to be like, if you're not meeting your own expectations, they're going to tell you and let you know about that. And friends that are also not dragging you into situations and dragging you into kind of like lifestyle that doesn't align with the lifestyle that you want to live in the future. And what I mean by that is kind of like, yeah, you can have friends that you're like, oh yeah, let's go for cocktails and stuff. But if all you do with your friends is go for cocktails and you don't have substantial conversations and nothing of substance, you're not helping each other grow and develop, then that's like a liability in a business. And that's like an expense that is not worth even making. So that's going to have to be like friends that you just have to close the door to and be like, you know what? It's no bad blood, but at the end of the day, it's like, do you want to lose your business or lose a friend that is not helping you out, kind of thing. And it's also just being around healthy people. So even if it's not about business, you need to at least have friends that are there to have a purpose in your life. Whether it's, when I emotional, when I feel hurt, I know that I have somebody that I can speak to, somebody that can put me on the right track, and somebody that can help me gather my thoughts. Because obviously we can't speak to ourselves all the time. You're gonna need people in your life to help you just cope and stuff. And especially family, like you can use your family to help you just emotionally get back on track, because that business is difficult and life is difficult, and you're going to have like ups and downs, and you're not going to be able to cope with all those things by yourself. So you need to have people that have a purpose in your life and can help you be the person that you want to be, and equally you help them as well, and help them kind of like with their, yeah. So not only just make it all about you, but also be the friend that you hope to have in life. And yeah, that's how I feel in terms of friendship. In terms of dating, I am the worst person to come to in terms of dating. Like, I don't know when was the last time I even dated someone. Like, I'm terrible with dating, but I think it will be the same thing as friendships. Find somebody that can help. Somebody, I guess, with relationships, because it is more intense, and it is more, that's like your life partner, and that's somebody that you do want to be with in the long run. You need to ensure that person is on the same page, if not 3 pages ahead of you, in terms of like what they know and what they understand, and just being there together. Because the last thing that you want is, you don't want somebody that's like, yeah, I want to be like, I just want to live life and just just sleep in the trees or something. That's not like even a thing, but I want to like sleep in the trees, and I just want to live like this carefree life, and I don't care attitude. And you're like super ambitious, and you're like, I want to travel the world by the time I'm like 60. I want to go to these places. It costs this much to go. And you've got your life planned out, but you've got somebody here that's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like, show me your partner and I'll show you where your life is going to end up at the end of the day, because you're investing that much energy into that person. It's going to reflect back onto you, because whether you like it or not, when emotions are involved in relationships, it's very easy to want to do the things that the person you're with is doing. It's easy to think the way that they think to some perspective. Yeah, you're going to have your own mind and your own morals and your own this, but it happens. It's like, it happens. Birds of a birds of the same feather flock together. Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of, that's just the way it works. So being with people that really align. Myself, I haven't found anybody that aligns with what I want. Finding it very difficult. If you're out there, then I'm here. But at the same time, I'm kind of like,
I'll put Andrietta's number
Yes,
down in the
call me.
description.
It gets lonely here. But yeah, I am single. So I feel, I don't know why I feel like so lame. I feel so lame. Like
Oh God.
I'm single. You know.
You don't need to. You don't need to. I think it's a problem that many like business
Mm,
owners face because at the end of the day, it is like it's a full-time job and there's no kind of
absolutely.
boundaries. So how can you find time for dating? Um, but yeah, no, and I think your point about who you spend the
Yeah.
most time around, whether it be a romantic partner or friends, they definitely rub off on you. So if you're trying to get up at 5 in the morning and you're trying to get on with your work and trying to do whatever you need to do during the day, and you have a partner that's not waking up till 12 o'clock in the in the afternoon, like 1 o'clock, and then they're getting up
Yeah.
watching Netflix and not really doing much,
Exactly.
that is eventually going to rub off on you. And I think it's positive thing for you to
Exactly. A
know when
thousand
it's okay
percent.
to end
Like
that relationship.
literally, you just said it perfectly. But yeah.
Hmm.
But you know. Oh,
Hmm.
yes, I do have some time. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have time for one more question,
Oh, I
or
was gonna say, casual dating is a thing,
just okay? Were you about to say
but
something? Sorry.
I feel like as though it is good to have an
Hmm.
investment in great relationships, but at the same time, it's kind of like if you're not in the place to put all, because it's also a commitment, just like a business, a relationship is a commitment that you need to be in focus with and in alignment with. But casual dating, you can casual date, treat casual dating like you treat your cheat
Hmm.
days, I guess.
Hmm.
You're like, be like, yeah, cool. You know, you don't have to be alone. You don't have to want to take anything serious, like
Yeah.
anybody else seriously, but you can casual date. But at the end of the day, everything has a consequence to it. If I have too many cheat days in a week, next thing I know, at the end of the week, I've gained like 5 pounds. I have nobody to blame but myself. So that is my advice when it comes to casual dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. The point is, it's a cheat day. It's it's like an occasional thing. It's
Yeah.
not something that you spend all your time doing. Otherwise, like you said, you put on £5 and you've only got yourself to blame. And just to kind of summarize and loop back to what you said right at the beginning, you kind of made the analogy of treat your friends like business
Mhm.
employees or business partners. You're going to fire some, you're going to hire new ones. And I think as you're constantly upgrading your circle and your circle of friends and your partners, you're going to, in terms of romantically dating, you're going to find more and more people, meet more and more people that kind of fit the criteria for what you need in a relationship, especially if you're somebody who's trying to
Sorry.
be a high achiever, be super successful.
Yeah, I think it cut out when I didn't know
Sorry, did I
what
cut out?
question you asked. All I got was high achiever and be successful. Mhm.
Oh, I was just saying, as your social circle improves, your chances of meeting someone, of finding someone that meets your criteria, that is what you need in a relationship, that's going to help you and encourage you to achieve your goals and be a high performer, that you're going to increase your chance of doing that through growing yourself
I
and
definitely agree with
improving your
that.
social circle along with it. So
Mhm.
we will move on to the last question, final question then. In your opinion and from your experience, who is the most influential music artist of this century and why?
Ooh, that is an interesting question. The most influential artist of this century. There's so many things to take into consideration with this question that it's actually very difficult. Um, I
Mm,
don't.
Who are you thinking?
I am
Who's on the
thinking
table?
Jay-Z. The only, even though he's not modern anymore and he's not
Mhm,
really of our generation, the reason why I say him, actually, okay, not
mhm,
Jay-Z, let me go into our generation. Let me say Drake. The reason as to why I say Drake is because it's kind of like linked to Jay-Z as well. In
mhm,
terms of the way that he has used his music, I mean, he's kind of like laid out his music. So as an artist, he's like a mass marketer. He understands business is more important at times than music. So what he does is that he creates
mhm,
music, not only music that he appreciates, but music that appeals to a mass market. And a lot of artists don't like him because they're like, oh, I put the artistry over business. But in a business revolved and corporate world, that's really not how it works. And that's the reason why so many like artists have become like the artists that are moguls now understood that business is here and then your artistry is like here. It's still very important. But if you really care for your art, you care where your art goes. And like I just appreciate
mhm,
the way that he functions as a business, where he doesn't limit himself to one genre. He doesn't limit himself in one sound. He doesn't limit himself to like one country based in America. He really branches out into different sections, such as signing artists from different places, mixing with different sounds, doing different things, and even allowing other people to also be part of his musical process and not having like a shame in that. I think is very important. And I think he's very smart in terms of the way that he markets his
mhm,
music and markets himself, because he kind of allows the audience to feel as though that they have an opinion on Drake and
mhm,
how Drake functions. When really and truly, when you look at people like Drake, it's when they do things, let's say when he had like the kid and Adonis, and people were like, oh my God, like Drake hiding my kid from the world. Like everything he does is very structured. He doesn't say things because that's how he feels, but he knows that's the reaction that you're going to give. And that's how you, even if he gets in altercations, he knows it's going to go this way or this way. People are going to create these kind of memes, or I'm going to make sure my team release these kind of memes. They have connections and pay people like borrowers to distribute information. And it's like, it's all things that are out there in the industry that are all very much planned. But I really appreciate how like these artists, Jay-Z and Drake, they really organize themselves as artists, and they never step outside their artistry, so you'll never catch them in situations that
mhm.
don't have to do anything with art, even though you might be like, oh okay, but yeah, I saw like uh Drake is apparently he's got so many girlfriends and stuff. But if you look at the stereotype of artists, especially rappers and stuff, that is the image that they're supposed to represent, whether we like it or not, whether it's healthy or not. It sells. That's what gives publicity. At the end of the day, all publicity is good publicity. And when you find artists that are like that and invest in all different sections of their music, you just have to appreciate it. So I would say Jay-Z or Drake, because Drake is like a mini version of Jay-Z, I guess. Jay-Z Jr. Yeah.
Jay-Z Jr. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of an important distinction to make because most artists, they feel something, they turn it into art, and that's good, but that's why a lot of these artists fail. Whereas, artists like Jay-Z, like Drake, like Kanye, all of these artists, they feel something, turn it into art, but then they think about the business side and they kind of put that, like you said, just above the art
Exactly.
to
And it's
make sure
like,
that it goes to the
even
right
with
places,
Kanye, he's a
to make sure that
very
it's
great
seen by the right
example.
people at the right
It's like
time.
when, especially when people are like, oh, Kanye's gone crazy and Kanye is now speaking about the world functions. What does Kanye know? All of this hype that we all gave Kanye, he then
Yeah,
used to go into the presidential house. It's not because he was smart, but it's because we led him to that direction and we gave him so much hype. And around that time, Donald
yeah,
Trump wanted to have an association with somebody, and he said, oh my gosh, Kanye, this is great for me. basically. Yeah, and it's kind of like we can, yeah. Oh no, it's
Yeah,
cool.
literally,
We can be like
literally. Yeah,
angry and be like, "Oh, why are
it
you
makes
doing
me.
that?" And it's like,
Go on.
no, business is
No,
business.
go on, sir.
It is. It's literally as plain as that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
No, this is the thing that always makes me laugh though. Like when people look at artists like, let's say, Kanye, and they look at Kanye and they say, "Oh, Kanye's going crazy." It's like, if you really
Mm.
think that everything that he's doing isn't on purpose, like he's doing that deliberately so that he can position himself and his music and his art higher up in the world. Do you really think that Kanye wasn't acting in such a way that he knew it would
Mm.
eventually get him literally like having several photo shoots of
Yeah,
him shaking hands with the president of America? There
yeah.
aren't many musical artists that have done that in their life, and yet Kanye's done it several times over. And what does that tell you? And it just still makes me laugh that people are still thinking that, oh, this he's just lucky, or he's actually crazy, or he's actually doing this accidentally, or whatever it might be. Like, no, I think the biggest, most successful artists are all
A
calculated,
thousand
careful.
percent.
They have a plan. They know exactly what they're doing
Yeah,
at
and
almost
that
all
goes back to
times,
another
with a
thing.
few exceptions.
Artists,
And I
especially
think
when
that's
you
kind of an
look at
important
music,
distinction to
music
make.
is maths. And at first you're gonna be like, "Oh, what do you mean?" Music is literally maths. Music plays with frequency. Music literally plays with the understanding of putting things into like a rhythmic and kind of like chemical kind of understand, like
Yeah,
ways that we listen to things and ways we react. It's like you look at when you're sad, you listen to
yeah.
sad music. When you're they're able to create things that can literally control you just through the way things sound. So if you think that somebody that can do that doesn't know how to calculate whether you how you're gonna react, whether
Hmm.
what they need to do for you to be able to do this and do this, so that they can like get enough attention, get enough views, get enough listens, for enough money to take them to different places. Because music isn't the only thing that artists want to do. Some of them want to be in business, some of them want to be lawyers, some of them want to be, I don't know, presidents and stuff. If they can play around with you using music, they can definitely do the same to get to where they want to get to. And it's not like so bad that like it's not so bad because we do it as individuals all the time,
Absolutely.
and it's not a bad thing to do. You have an idea, you have a journey that you want to follow. You're going to be looking at every single avenue. How can I get there? What can I use to get there? How can I manipulate certain things to make sure that they fall in line? Not even manipulate, but how can I use certain things? But manipulate is another word, but I don't see a negative word, negative ways to get to the point that I need to get. Negative or positive, it's still a way that you can reach your destination. Mhm. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Manipulation does have a lot of negative connotations, but manipulation is just changing reality or changing the people
exactly.
around you to achieve what you want to achieve, positive or negative. Absolutely.
No,
Okay,
that is
so
everything for
that's all my
myself.
questions for
Thank you.
today. Do you have anything else that you wanted to kind of talk about or ask yourself?
I've enjoyed these questions.
No problem at all. Thank you
Yeah,
so much
I've
for coming
enjoyed
on,
these
Andrietta.
questions.
It's been
Like,
absolutely fantastic talking
it's
with
been
you.
a great mixture of
Lots and
questions.
lots
I've
of
really
value shared
enjoyed
today.
it. Yeah.
It's been good. It's been good. Good, good. I mean, I've said before, like I find your mind fascinating, just the way that you kind of make these connections and go from
Yeah.
one question and then leap to the next topic. So it's definitely been interesting for me. So again, thank you so much for coming on, and everybody who's been watching, thank you so much for watching slash listening so far. And
Thank
yeah,
you very
stay
much.
tuned for
Thank you
next
so
week's
much for having
episode.
me.
Thank you again, Andrietta, for coming on.